What's your pressure? Give me 100 pounds. 100.
Squad 1, Rescue 51, truck team. Respond to a working out fire.
State headquarters. See if you can possibly get a hold of someone on our call list.
TNT, KC 439.
Over the past 5 decades, our department has grown, evolved, and become an integral part of our community. Today, we take you on a journey through time to reflect on our history, our milestones, and the people who have made it all possible. Let's start at the beginning. To understand where we are today, we need to look back at where we started.
The commissioners decided that there was no county fire department, and the county was growing, and they contacted Tom Farrell, who was an employee of Snapper in McDonough, and asked him would he be interested in organizing a county fire department. He agreed. And then Tom looked up all the city fire stations in the county and approached them about becoming a county fire station.
The volunteer fire department started in this county because it was more primarily a rural area. I think the population at that time was probably in the 20 or 30,000 range. So the county simply couldn't afford a career fire service or paid people in the fire station. So the volunteer system was the way to go. Plus we had a very, very robust set of volunteers at each station, probably in the 25 or 30 person range at each fire station.
McDonough decided they wanted to stay city. Locust Grove, their volunteer fire station, was defunct. Nobody wanted to be part of it. Station 3 in Highland Village, where I was at, we had just organized a fire station there because City of Stockbridge wouldn't come out. And we were 2 miles south of Stockbridge. They approached Stockbridge. They didn't want any part of it. Fairview, they had a good volunteer fire department going, and they agreed to come in. They approached Tom and wanted to start a fire station in Old. So, and Lake Cindy saw it. They wanted to come in and start a fire station too.
60s, we had 2 engines. We had a mini pumper and we had a B truck. It was an older Ford, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that's what we had. And they had a Maxim there at one. We had 3 trucks, but we rarely ran the Maxim at all. It was barely operational, but we ran 2 engines out of 6. And then 3s, they had a tanker and an engine.
As we started, the state came out with these, what they call fire knockers. The forestry had them, and they were giving them to different fire departments for forest fires and all. Well, lo and behold, station number 5 was donated, the land and building was donated by Senator Herman Talmadge. So, lo and behold, the first fire knocker went to Station 5. It was a rebuilt forestry truck. They put a tank and a pump on it, hose on it, and it served the county several years, and it served it well. And we were fortunate to get a piece like that. We were, when Station 6 come in, Their agreement, they had several fire trucks, their agreement was that the county would buy them a mini pumper, and they would come in and donate one of their trucks to another station. And well, the county bought 2 mini pumpers. And by that time, Chief Farrah had done what he had planned to do with the fire department. All he could do, being he didn't know anything about a fire department, and he resigned. And the next thing you know, they made me chief. And so when the 2 mini pumpers come in, with their agreement, I put one of the mini pumpers at Station 6. The truck they donated went to Station 4.
The first cab over, we got diesel, brand new truck. Chief Elliott, he was the chief at that time, and they had one somewhere in Florida, but it was painted like a lime green color. And he told the guy, he said, if you can paint that truck white, we will buy it. So they painted it white, and they brought that up to Station 7, a big old nice diesel cab over. I think at that time there were several other stations that really wanted that truck, but
There's a lot of envy there.
yeah. Each station had like maybe a ladies auxiliary. So they would make sure that I'd have the basic stuff, you know, like toilet paper, cleaning supplies, and all kind of stuff like that. And but most of the departments at the time, the equipment was in disrepair, you know, needed working on and things. And being able to get the county involved, you know, we was able to come up like with, you know, a little maintenance program for the trucks and stuff like that. And then the county, you know, they had a shop, because before, I think a lot of the work that was done, the volunteers, you know, they'd get out there and work on stuff.
Toward the summertime of '74, we were selling cakes, ice cream, anything we could sell, make money. And we finally made enough money to buy a fire truck, a 1941 Ford. We all worked on it every day after school. We got it all ready to go, and then we started building a building to put it in.
When you had all these little volunteer departments, and then you get in like the county, and you actually gonna get a dispatcher, you know, which was gonna be the police department. Well, they had a little bit of information, but as far as, okay, if you got a fire, say, on Old Jackson Road, which was actually between Station 2 and Station 4, who's gonna respond to that call if it's a house fire? Who's going to respond if it's a woods fire? Who's going to respond if it's a car fire? So me and Frank, Brian Jackson, and several other people, I think it was in the winter of probably around 1978, we borrowed an old electric typewriter and got us a bunch of index cards and a county map, and we went and typed up every street in Henry County, and we put on there who was first in, if it was a house fire, woods fire, car fire, and who the backup was. You know, and that was a big thing to have. But the biggest thing was to have a dispatcher when the call come in to her, that she could use her little Rolodex and look, say whatever address, and she automatically knew who to send out.
If we caught a fire, it was one man pulled up. This one guy, he had to hit the hydrant, run the lay, set it up, and everything. And in many cases, because these are some really gung-ho guys, they would go in there and fight the fire by themselves. That's bad. Okay, so then usually either an ambulance or I would pull up, so we'd gear up and go in. See, nowadays, battalion chief, he stays outside. It's all hands on deck.
Well, a lot of the hand tools, the bread and butter, your axe, your Halligan, none of that's really changed that much. But there's new things that came along, you know, saws, sawzalls, chainsaws. You know, we never thought about using no chainsaw. You talk about something to wear you out. You go chopping a hole in the roof of a house with an axe, and back then it wasn't plywood. It was real one-buys, it would wear you out. But you know, chainsaws came along and that helped venting roofs, but of course you had to afford them. But the gear is really improved for the safety of the firefighter. And the SCBAs, when I first started, they were steel bottles. And we had some Scots. Again, they was hand-me-downs from the city of Atlanta. I believe Chief Rice had something to do with us getting some of that stuff.
I'd say some things have remained the same. Turnout gear is about the same. It's a little lighter than it used to be. It breathes a little better now than it used to. Air packs definitely have changed. Our cylinders from starting out probably only lasted 20 minutes at a time. We didn't have a pass device inside the air pack. We didn't have digital displays. And tick units, of course, that was a big innovation, having one on every truck.
When we first ordered our new coats, we did have the long cotton duck coats with the day boots, and I love those things. You know, our coats were a lot longer than what you have now, and then you had boots that you could pull all the way up to here. The disadvantages was you get steam burns on your legs, thighs. If somebody steamed it too bad, it was not great to crawl in because your knees would get on the coats, but I loved them. They were quicker to get into and that kind of stuff. They didn't hamper you as much, and you didn't get as hot as far as, you know, working. You got an extra layer of protection now, but it also, you didn't sweat as much or didn't get as hot underneath. But the regulators were way up here, and it cumbersome, the way I could say it. Then after that, we got some Survivors, and they were the first composite type bottle that we got, which it dropped the weight of them a lot. But them Scots, the first ones we had with them steel bottles, them things was heavy.
Hoses, you know, we only had 3-inch hoses, the largest hose we had. Now we have 5-inch, 1.5-inch attack lines. Every truck had booster reels. So, you know, there was a lot of times with single-man fire trucks, first line off the truck would be a booster reel because you were by yourself.
We are definitely limited staff. There were some fires. You had 4 people on the scene of a fire at 2 o'clock in the morning. So back then it was equipment was a struggle. You know, it was just that time, and Henry County was growing. Henry County had a population of about 40,000, so it was before the growth happened. And at that point, the struggle was real, obviously, for our limited staff, young department, and it's definitely come light years away from where it was then.
It was very haphazard, but there was some training going on. It was primarily done individually in the stations, so it was very simple. You did what you could do with the equipment you had on hand. Sometimes it was very limited to what we could do, but at that time, the volunteer personnel were totally involved in doing that, and were able to do the job that needed to be done without having the equipment they really needed to do it with.
There really wasn't a formal training division for a long time. I guess it was somewhere around 86 or 87. Chief Harvey put me in as a training officer. I had no budget. I had nothing to work with. We hired a bunch of people and we had to train them. We didn't have much to work with in that and everything. And it just kind of evolved. I mean, the station started doing their own training and everything. And then we got a formal training division.
I believe it's evolved to the point to where we are a professional service,
and the fire service is truly looked at as professionals. In the early days, it was amazing to come here to the training center. We had a student authorization form with the training chief's signature on it, and we just made photocopies of it. So we could take any class that we wanted to. We just filled it out on our own, and that allowed a lot of us to take a lot of training down here, but it also led to Henry County being one of the #1 no-show fire departments in the state of Georgia. But our people were very willing to come, and you always seen Henry County students here at the training center. We were never limited on what we were able to do. We were allowed to come to training. If they could cover our shift, they would allow us to come. We went to training everywhere, and the foundations of that department is that of training and professional development, and we were always encouraged to do that. And one thing that we were always told was, you know, they couldn't take any of your training and professional development away from you, and nobody was going to give it to you, and it was up to you to go get it on your own. And all of our officers always supported us in doing that, to the point to where we had the training chief's signature on a blank form.
Over the past several years here at Henry County Fire Rescue, we do formal and informal training. It allows small groups and large groups the ability to train. We have the use of technology. For fireside, we use thermal imaging cameras. It allows us to find the seat of the fire or heat. On the EMS side of operations, we have a new junctional tourniquet that we use, a pelvic binder, and a King Vision that allows better pre-hospital care.
As the years passed, the fire department grew and adapted to meet the changing needs of the community.
We were running, as far as supervisors go, everything was out of McDonald. So to run a call to Ellenwood, that's a struggle. And so that wasn't working very well. As far as the rank structure went, we started with lieutenants. Okay. And then somebody said, well, let's make them captains. So we became captains. And then as the department got bigger and bigger, we were like, all right, we're going to split into 2 battalions, and you're going to be chief. And that's how that came up. And it took years for that to happen.
So we got to go to all these communities all over the state of Georgia, and we was just 18. And so when we was going around teaching these other schools, they was teachers, we were their torch crew. And so that's where we learned. We just, you know, we burned meals, we burned apartment complexes. We followed them guys all over the state of Georgia every weekend, you know, being their torch crew. And y'all know just as well as anything, if you want to learn anything about fire, you got to be, of course y'all don't do it no more, you got to be on that pump can and with that diesel fuel and the aggressiveness. And so we got the reputation of being, you know, the gracious department.
When I got on the job, we were 1-person trucks and we had volunteers. There was 1 ambulance in the North Battalion, so it was Rescue North basically, and there was about 6 of us in the North Battalion, including our battalion chief. So you had to be very aggressive, and you were expected to get first water and not let anybody beat you in your own territory. And it was a huge competition, and you tried your best to do everything you could to prevent loss of life and property, even though we were 1-man trucks. And like I said, I grew up in a department that was, you know, 3-4 person minimum staffing all the time. And it was amazing to come to a department and see how aggressive we were and how much work we got done with that few people. And I think that level of aggressiveness, even though y'all have increased the number of personnel, they increased the number of units, that level of aggressiveness is still there.
We have been very aggressive as far as the fire department goes. Fire suppression, I would put us up against anybody in the nation. And I think we've proven that with the EMS, because we have made it into national publications on how aggressive and how successful we have been in cardiac arrest.
Coming from the fire service here in a rural area, working at an EMS here, and then working at a city fire department in Macon, you know, I had a little bit of experience under my belt, just enough to make me dangerous, I think. But when I started running calls in Henry County, I noticed that the culture was so much different. You know, you go to a wreck and where people would maybe
be withheld and not so aggressive up to that point in my career, I noticed that everyone was getting in and working hard.
Firefighter training has evolved significantly over the years, incorporating advances in technology, safety protocols, and a deeper understanding of fire science.
Chief Copeland was the first guy who came in and started our extrication technician class. And he wrote that class. And then the state had tried to adopt it, and we got a certification for it. And we went through the first class here with all the technical rescue lieutenants and drivers and that type of thing, and got all those guys certified. And the goal was to get as many people certified as we could within the first 5 years. Well, he was on the edge of retirement like I am now, and he said, hey, I need somebody to take this over. I raised my hand right off the get-go. I'll be happy to. And very proud of the fact that we now, in the last 10 years, we probably have well over 100 extrication technicians certified in our department.
Really, one of the good projects that I was a part of that I'm really proud of is developing the technical rescue team. We had, I got into that early in my career. We had a special operations committee that met and built to what it is today. After 9/11, when federal funding became available, we were able to get the heavy rescues, and the department went through a phase of a lot of technical rescue training. We held it in-house, and I learned a lot, and we built the team. I'm pretty proud of where it is today from where it started back then.
Our technical rescue is, I think, it was a monumental part of our organization. We piecemealed a lot of stuff. We started off by getting ropes here, getting ropes there. The little squads we had back at that time were little one-ton trucks, and we had some rope that was old. And some of our instructors would go around the state teaching. They'd bring stuff back as we got donated. But around the early 2000s is when we got some grants for 2 squads. And I remember I was battalion chief then, and definitely the team members, Chief McConnell, Chief Clemens, there's, I guess the North Battalion was C shift. We had at Station 11 and Station 3 were our technical rescue teams. I remember in Squad 1 we got a grant for Squad 1 and we bought Squad 11. But I remember going upstairs at Station 3 and actually building the squad out of tape. So we actually built a truck upstairs out of fire scene tape, the yellow tape, and just trying to figure out what the dimensions look like. And we were so excited we got to actually grow up and get a real squad during that time. So the guys that came together were amazing. All 3 shifts. They trained off duty, and I think they were during that time second to none. They responded. We had a lot of anything from a water tower rescue to trench rescues to hazmat calls to water plant rescues during construction from the Water Authority. Extrications were every day. So during that time, they really took it upon the team took it upon themselves to take the next step, pretty much on their own, get some equipment, and did an amazing job.
We're much better off today. The old tools used to be cutters and spreaders would weigh 80 to 100 pounds per tool, and you literally would have people that couldn't lift it over their head, and I get that. You had to rotate people out a lot because it was very hard to do a long, extended extrication with those tools because you literally would just get tired. And just like everything else in the fire service with technology, things get stronger, lighter, work faster. We got the Hamacho tools, and you pick those up from picking up the Hurst, and you go, wow, this is like I'd work forever doing these. But the biggest thing, it doesn't matter what tool you use or what stabilization, you got to have guys that know what they're doing, and they got to know vehicles, and they got to know metal, and they need to know how things work. Our capabilities in being able to get a door open and get to a patient is much quicker and more efficient than it's ever been. And it's not for me. It's the guys who set the foundation years ago, Chief Copeland, Chief McConnell, all those, and Chief Wiggins, people like that who got it to say, hey, we're going to give you what you need. And then we had the classes come in, and we literally can fill out those classes in a matter of 10 minutes. It is one of the it's probably one of the most sought after classes in the county that we put on, because they know what they're getting. One is they're going to get the techniques that they need to be successful. Two, we make it fun. And three, you just get to tear stuff up.
The heart of the fire department lies in the experiences and dedication of its members.
I think one of the biggest things in my career, as far as what helped the personnel of the fire department, is probably the new pension system. Prior to us having a true pension, we had a in the government it's called 403, which is a 401k basically. And it was losing money. And it was losing money, and it was losing money. So at a time when most companies and most municipalities were going away from a true pension system, we were able to convince the commissioners to go with a true pension system. And it's been a great success. It's afforded not only firefighters but county employees the opportunity to retire and have a monthly income that they can still live on. Not so much for the way it was with the 403 and the deferred comp system we were under. And it was because of the contributions that the employees put into the system when it was initially established. We asked the employees to give the money that was in their deferred comp plan at the time to get the system started. And we put a questionnaire out, and it was overwhelmingly approved by the employees around the county, not just in the fire department or public safety, but around the county. So that was a major plus for the personnel of Henry County.
Well, I'll tell you that one of the ones that I like to brag about the best is when Henry swapped over from life packs to Zoll cardiac monitoring equipment. And we changed our whole thought process about how we functioned in a cardiac arrest environment. We changed what we did, we changed how we handled it. We held ourselves to a stricter standard when we went to the Zoll monitors with the rescue CPR device and the auto pulse and the rescue pod, all of those things together with a really change in procedure, a change in our policy, the way we did things. And I'll be honest with you, when we first started talking about it, I wasn't a fan. I was a tenured paramedic, and I resisted that change. But the results speak for themselves. When I was a shift commander, I frequently got asked to speak at civic events, and I kept those stats in my pocket. That was an easy bragging point, where we went from having just below the national average cardiac saves to well above the national average. I think that's something that really can brag about. It's just the innovation and the not being willing to settle for where you're at, constantly pushing to be better at our job. And that's one of the points I like to brag about that I worked through in Henry County.
Our battalion chief passed away shortly after he retired, and that was Roy Morris. And we started an honor guard to be able to do his funeral. And we formed it mostly with our shift. And after the service, we decided that we were going to keep the honor guard going. And we formalized it. We got training. We standardized our uniform and policies and protocols. And I believe that that was probably my most memorable thing, having the opportunity to participate in that. And the fact that we had the opportunity to honor firefighters and their service. And not just doing funerals, we did ceremonies, we did the retirement ceremonies, we did flag presentations. We got to participate in a lot of different things. The first anniversary of September 11th, we presented the colors at Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's probably one of the most memorable color guard presentations that we ever did. We did a flyover. It was right at sunset. It was an amazing opportunity, but doing the honor guard was something we got a lot of opportunities to do, a lot of things to honor our department, to honor our service, and honor all those who went before us.
When we, if you did have two people on the truck, if the guys were about the same tenured, it wasn't an old school guy, how did you decide who drove the truck? Whoever got there and put their boots beside the driver door. As a 21-year-old firefighter, I wanted to drive. Thought it was cool as all get out. But Now we've progressed from the qualification of putting your boots next to the driver's door to actually having a driver program. And I never forget when we first started, when it hadn't been that long after I had started here, oh, we need driver operators, we need sergeants. Been saying that since 94, 95, probably even earlier than that. That's what I remember. And now we finally was able to do it in 2023. And I'm glad, I'm proud to be part of that program. I was able to really assist in getting that done along with a handful of other folks, but that was a pretty grueling 2 years of training. 13 classes in 12 months, every 3 weeks. Had a great time. It was hard, but now look where we're at now. And I know, used to it was when we were pumping a fire, it was just give me more water, give me less water. That was as far as our pump operation went. Now you have people that actually understand what the pump's doing, understand if something goes wrong, how to fix it, and how to pump it appropriately and efficiently. It gives me, it makes me proud to be here, proud to be part of that program, and proud to see it enacted now.
Our fire department's impact extends beyond emergency response. Its relationship with the community is a cornerstone of its success.
I think in any profession, when it comes to public safety, is there's just got to be that deep-hearted willingness to serve. I believe that in the bottom of my heart. You have to be able to be there for somebody in their time of need, no matter how big or small you think that their ask is.
Every action, everything that we do, it all revolves around integrity, right? Our whole service, right? Every piece of what we do, whether it's getting here, taking care of a fire station, if I don't clean a toilet properly or halfway do it, that shows a lack of integrity to me, right? It's when I don't check my SCBA, right? But I kind of halfway check it maybe, right? That's a lack of integrity, right? And I think that's the most important quality, right? You don't have to be the best at slinging that water on the fire. You don't. We need you to be good. We need you to be confident, but you don't have to be the best, right? You may not be able to read smoke as great as others, right? But man, if you lack integrity, in other words, if you have somebody who can do all those things, but they don't have integrity, they don't care about their team, they're not focused on, hey, I'm willing to sacrifice me for you, right? No matter what.
It's a passion. So that's another thing. You have to have passion for this career. You have to love what you do. And I think that's the main thing, just loving what you do. That's the biggest quality.
You'll hear a lot of people say it again, that this is truly the best job in the world. And I believe that. I believe that it is. I love to serve the community. I've been in this community for a very long time. I love the profession. I love to see the changes that we go to, the challenges that we face every single day. How we grow and become better to adapt to those challenges, to overcome those challenges.
Henry County is a growing community. With over 250,000 people in this community, plus so many visitors. I don't know what the number is, but it's a lot, right? And it's going to continue to grow. How are we prepared? I hope the legacy is that we continue to grow and develop and expand. I think not only just in numbers, right? We got to have that. Our priorities in the fire department. Obviously meeting all the NFPA standards, but especially 1710. We have the right number of people on everything every day, right? That we are accomplishing things like accreditation that help drive and basically saying, doing what we say we're here to do, right? Accreditation helps us with that. And then eventually, becoming an ISO 1, right? What does that mean for the community? Well, it's a cost savings for the community. And honestly, it's a badge of honor, right? To be able to say our department is one of the very few of the best in the country, right? That we truly make a difference, that we are doing every day what we say we're here to do. We meet every need when it comes to fire service, right? And the same thing as we respond to emergency medical calls. And I think that we have to be prepared to be even more innovative as we move forward.
The benefits that come from all three of those goals actually gives back to the community. It goes to improving the saving of lives. It goes to reducing homeowners insurance, and it goes to just basically having an overall safer community to live in if you can achieve those three goals.
I think this department will continue to grow. We do a really good job of passing along information. I'd say our department is really good at training people and keeping them trained, and just instilling the attitude of training as a career. I think this department will continue on to do well just because of that.
The hardest part of this job is being gone for 24 hours. That's the hardest, especially with kids when they're younger. You miss ball games, you miss birthdays, you miss holidays, but it makes you more thankful when you do get to spend time on them holidays, on them birthdays. It makes them more special to you.
So in the blink of an eye, retirement time comes, and it's amazing how fast the journey of life really is. And cherish that time and cherish the moments you make and make a difference while you have that time.
I think that it's important for everybody to understand, how we got to where we are today, to, continue to remember the men and women that laid the foundation, before us. I think it's important for each member to strive to continue, working every single day to be their best, to continue to serve the community, and continue to lay that foundation, for the next 50 years for the people that, come after us.
Here's to the past, the present, and the future of a vital profession that continues to stand as a beacon of courage and commitment. Thank you for joining us in celebrating our 50-year legacy. Together, we look forward to many more years of service and dedication.